A quiet shift happened, but the noise it made was felt across oceans and continents. There was no press conference. There was no televised announcement. Just a simple change in military orders that redefined everything about the fight against drug cartels. This was a decisive, permanent move to assert U.S. dominance over an adversary that had grown too comfortable. In October 2025, a classified rule gave authority to a new kind of war. This war is not fought against nations, but against the criminal networks that destroy communities. The United States military systems went operational with one clear mission: to dismantle narcotics networks through direct, lethal action. For the first time in history, cartels are not just seen as criminals. They are now classified as unlawful combatants. This new legal status carries enormous weight. It instantly turns cartel operatives into legitimate military targets in a global conflict defined by money and blood. This order, supported by a classified legal opinion, marks the exact turning point. The entire structure of cartel power has been permanently exposed for its weakness. The old rules, where U.S. agencies treated drug trafficking as a slow criminal case, are finished. For half a century, the U.S. goal was to arrest, prosecute, and extradite. Now, the fight is defined as a matter of national defense and armed conflict. This redefinition confirms U.S. control when cartels act like armies, using military-grade weapons and causing mass violence. They are treated exactly like armies. The humiliating result is a shift from police work to outright warfare. The legal opinion from the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel is the invisible engine driving this power shift. It allows the U.S. military to conduct targeted strikes without the slow process of traditional law enforcement. This removes the bureaucratic layers that once slowed operations. This authority is breathtaking in its scope. It gives the president the power to use lethal force against cartel operatives. This is the same legal framework that was once reserved only for terrorists after 9/11. The message to the cartels is a decisive declaration of U.S. control. Your old protections are gone. The Department of Defense and the CIA now handle missions that once belonged to the DEA. The chain of command is shorter. The timelines for action are much faster. The consequences for the enemy are deadlier. Cartel targets can be approved quickly through defense command channels, bypassing slow interagency review. Military operators no longer need permission from the Department of Justice to act. This speed creates a sense of inevitable dominance for the U.S. and utter chaos for the adversary.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
Alongside this legal revolution came a massive technological leap. Newly activated military systems are now fully operational over the Pacific drug routes and the Mexican highlands. These systems ensure total intelligence saturation. The assets include armed Reaper drones. They include AI-driven signal interceptors. They include satellite-linked targeting platforms. These systems are all blended together in joint command centers that combine the power of military and intelligence capabilities. This is the first time that military-grade kinetic force has been fully integrated into the strategy against drug networks. The CIA's power has also quietly expanded. Covert action orders now permit lethal operations and armed surveillance across Latin America. Armed drones, once used only against terrorists in the Middle East, are now patrolling above cartel territory. The CIA was once limited to gathering information. Now, it is kinetic. This combination of lethal authority and constant surveillance represents something entirely new. The cartel's last illusion of safety has been permanently removed. At the core of this dominant U.S. campaign are advanced military systems. These classified platforms fuse artificial intelligence with traditional military targeting doctrine. They use multi-sensor fusion to track cartel movements in real time. Data pours in from satellites, signals intelligence, and local informants, all merging into one complete strike picture. The result is a devastating advantage: faster decision times, less human error, and the ability to hit targets quickly, sometimes within minutes. This capability shatters the cartel's reliance on speed and confusion. The entire network, armed drones, maritime craft, special operations units, feeds into this AI system. The system learns patterns, smuggling routes, convoy formations, radio signatures, which allows for predictive targeting. The system knows where the cartel will be before the cartel even moves. This is overwhelming U.S. intelligence dominance. For cartel logistics, this is a complete nightmare. Every shipment is now under watch. Every phone call can mark a target for destruction. The cartel's attempts to remain invisible have failed completely. The chaos of the terrain and the darkness of night no longer hide them. The machines do not sleep, they do not blink, and they never forget. One analyst noted the sheer humiliation. They're fighting ghosts with computers. You can't intimidate an algorithm. Cartel smuggling routes were once like living systems, always changing to stay ahead of law enforcement. Now, these routes are static maps, pinned down by constant U.S. surveillance. The use of night vision makes darkness irrelevant. Radar penetrates the waves, making the ocean useless as a shield. The entire border has become a transparent layer of digital data. The most innovative cartel weapons have also turned against them. Cartels use small drones to scout and drop explosives, but the U.S. response was decisive and superior. Counter-unmanned aircraft systems, or CUAS, are now deployed. These systems use frequency jammers and directed energy to disable cartel drones in mid-flight. The systems can even detect a drone's unique radio fingerprint, identify its operator, and take control of the drone. The cartel's own drone becomes a silent traitor, feeding data back to the U.S. forces hunting them. This is ultimate humiliation. The psychological shift is complete. Every drone the cartel puts in the sky is not a sign of their power, but a reminder that they are being watched, tracked, and beaten at their own game. Strikes are already being reported, showcasing the absolute dominance of the new strategy. These are not mere arrests, they are decisive eliminations. Precision missile hits have struck suspected cartel motorcades in Sonora. Explosions have destroyed hidden airstrips near Sinaloa. Drones have intercepted smuggling boats off Baja California. Casualties among high-ranking cartel figures have been significant. The focus is not on capture, but on deterrence through force. The sea, once the cartel's most reliable ally, has been turned into a kill box by U.S. and allied naval forces. Maritime awareness systems track vessels using radar, infrared sensors, and satellites. Operation Caribbean Shield, launched in mid-2025, represents the largest maritime interdiction campaign since the height of the War on Terror. U.S. destroyers, Coast Guard cutters, and allied naval assets coordinate in real time to cut off what commanders call the cartel bloodstream.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
In August 2025, coordinated air and sea operations destroyed multiple narco subs attempting to deliver tons of synthetic opioids. These were preemptive hits, guided by machine learning predictions. This confirms a decisive truth. Geography no longer protects the cartels. Ground commanders have shifted their playbook completely. The focus is no longer on chasing cartels, but on denying them mobility. Compact task forces are deployed for rapid insertion and immediate withdrawal. They orchestrate multi-domain kill chains. Precision-guided munitions are used to end firefights before they ever truly begin. The objective is simple: containment before contact. The cartel's once safe zones are now transparent grids under constant surveillance. The cartels tried to adapt. They built armored narco tanks and used drone swarms. But for every cartel innovation, U.S. and allied commanders had a countermeasure ready. Electronic warfare teams jammed the cartel's drone frequencies. In one operation in Tamaulipas, ground forces neutralized an entire drone swarm using directed energy. Reconnaissance units used laser designators to mark narco tanks for precision missile strikes. This collapses the cartel's tempo. The battlefield is a contest of speed, and structured command always wins over chaos. No commander fights alone. The new U.S. doctrine emphasizes synchronized coordination with Mexican and regional forces. Intelligence fusion centers gather surveillance feeds instantly from all sources. When a cartel convoy is spotted, the data flows instantly to all command layers. Within minutes, joint teams can mobilize ground units or call in a precision airstrike. Cartel logistics, which were once unpredictable, now face pressure from all sides. They used to think in days, but now they are forced to think in minutes. Special operations forces are the tip of the spear. They are deployed for surgical decapitation missions, targeting leadership compounds and communications hubs. They strike at dawn and leave only silence behind. These strikes have reshaped the psychology of cartel warfare. When leaders are constantly targeted, paranoia spreads through the ranks. Lieutenants suspect betrayal, and internal cohesion vanishes. This is the deliberate dismantling of an organization from the inside. In operations near Culiacan, special forces coordinated with naval intelligence to hit a convoy carrying senior logistics officers. The precision of the strike crippled the group's supply chain overnight. It was an unmistakable message. Nowhere is safe. The effect on the cartels has been a dramatic, humiliating collapse of morale. Communications intercepts show widespread panic and confusion. For the first time, cartel lieutenants do not know if the sound of a drone overhead is mere surveillance or an immediate armed attack. That uncertainty is the exact point of the U.S. strategy. Within days of the first operations, cartel networks lit up with alarm. Leaders who relied on bribes and evasion now faced a reality they were completely unprepared for: targeted strikes without warning. The rules they had played by for decades simply no longer applied. There was only sudden, precise destruction. Several major figures immediately abandoned their compounds and fled inland. Others cut off all communications, going dark by dropping satellite phones and internet access. This frantic scramble exposed their true weakness. As one former security advisor said, "They can't fight drones. They can't buy off missiles." The psychological impact is devastating. The message is clear: there is nowhere safe enough, no deal rich enough, and no protection deep enough to guarantee their survival. The cartels once built their entire empire on fear directed outward. Now, fear flows back directly onto them. Every lost drone, every intercepted radio call, every convoy ambushed by unseen US eyes reinforces one truth: the cartels are being watched by something far more powerful than themselves. Experts call this the inversion of fear. The moment the hunted knows, it is no longer the predator. This psychological shift is what is truly breaking the back of these organizations. The cartel's ability to adapt has been completely neutralized by AI-driven intelligence and high-altitude surveillance. The new strategy also targets the cartel's true backbone: their money. Fuel depots, storage facilities, secret runways, and ocean vessels are all legitimate strike targets. These are disruption campaigns meant to cause economic paralysis. Intelligence summaries confirm that multiple cartels have lost key logistical hubs within weeks. Intercepted communications reveal deep financial panic. Payment systems are collapsing as operators fear exposing bank accounts. This is the only language the cartels truly understand: disproportionate force. Arrests were always negotiable. Strikes are not. When assets are destroyed mid-route, the U.S. neutralizes both the cargo and the logistical backbone that sustains cartel power. This strategy of interruption by obliteration makes the goal simple: incapacity. The cartel's finance system is also being targeted using AI-enhanced financial intelligence. Algorithms detect patterns in transactions linked to illegal activity. With automation, the U.S. Treasury and allied agencies can freeze assets and issue sanctions at lightning speed. The global walls are closing simultaneously, globally, and algorithmically. This technological chokehold is forcing cartels into a position they have never faced: irrelevance. The cartels built their empire on the illusion of unpredictability. But U.S. machine learning thrives on patterns. Predictive analytics now forecast smuggling attempts with high accuracy. Enforcement is no longer reacting to a crime. It is anticipating it. The future for the cartels is a shrinking corridor of moves, each one already mapped and anticipated. The ultimate cost to the cartels is not just money or casualties, it is the mental breakdown of their leadership. Cartel figures who once defined themselves through total dominance now define themselves only through simple survival. That shift, from predator to prey, is irreversible. The goal is to make leadership unbearable, forcing decisions under such mental pressure that total collapse becomes self-inflicted. This is victory by exhausting the enemy's will. When cartels realize they are tracked at levels that even foreign militaries fear, they confront the end of an illusion. The invisible eye above them is a mirror reflecting their own mortality. The perception of their omnipotence has been shattered. In less than a year of this integrated strategy, cartel mobility has been dramatically reduced. Seizures of maritime shipments are up, and ground interdictions are more precise. The myth of the cartel's invisibility is gone forever. Ground commanders now fight with eyes everywhere, from the skies to the sea floor. The advantage has shifted decisively to those who can see, decide, and act first. This is dominance not through numbers, but through absolute knowledge. Technology does not end conflict, but it ends uncertainty. And in this battle, uncertainty was always the greatest ally of the cartels. The United States has achieved what once seemed impossible: continuous, predictive, and legally empowered dominance across every domain. The fight remains dynamic, but it is no longer equal. The cartels are forced to react. America dictates the terms. The era where criminal networks exploited the cracks between agencies, borders, and time zones is over. The cracks have closed forever. The signals are clear, and the map is fully lit. In the continuous hum of the servers that never sleep, one message resonates across hemispheres. Evasion is over. The hunt is permanent. The technology is sovereign. This takedown was just the start. The fight isn't finished. On your screen is the next video. Click the video, it opens right away, and you'll see the cartels crushed even harder.